So, our topic today is about not pleasing everyone and why we shouldn't care, why we shouldn't be trying to please everyone. And I'm going to ask you this question. It really could be a general question. I'll put it to keto though. Has anyone ever judged you on your keto lifestyle, or did you take it as a judgment, or maybe it was an overly concerned person where the person is saying, things about your keto lifestyle that they probably don't know anything about, and then you felt judged about it? Has that ever happened to you? Have they ever said anything that made you feel judged? I'm just going to put it out there. And I want you guys to kind of pop in your answers as we go through and talk about this. Hi, Julia. You're back. It's good to see you, sweetie. Haven't seen you for a long time. Great to have you as always. Yeah. So, Bonnie, maybe you could tell me too. Has anyone ever said anything to you about your keto lifestyle that sounded judgy or you took it as judgy? Things like keto isn't healthy. It's a fad diet. Um, you know, I heard, somebody say that it's not healthy. Oh my gosh, your cholesterol, blah, 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 right? That kind of stuff. And usually this comes from people who, well, obviously they don't know what they're talking about. They don't do any research whatsoever. But I think a lot of times people want you to not sustainable. That's a real good one. That's a real good one, Bonnie. They want you to stay with them, right? They don't want you to be different. It's so funny because I always compare keto to, say, like a really bad food allergy. Like, I'll just say, for example, like, say you were absolutely allergic to shellfish, right? And so if everybody knew that you were allergic to shellfish, we're talking EpiPen, whatever, right? And you would go to somebody's house and you tell them that you're allergic to shellfish, or they know, they would never question it. They would never say, is that really sustainable? Is that really healthy? Not eating shellfish, like even just a little bit. And you're like, no, I kind of need an EpiPen. I don't think that's healthy. Nobody would question it. If you were celiac, nobody would say, oh, come on, just have a little bit of pasta. It's totally fine. Nobody would do that. Well, nobody I know would do that. But when it comes to following a certain kind of lifestyle, and whether it's keto, whether it's low carb, whether it's fasting or carnivore, or whatever it is that you're wanting to try, you're wanting to do to improve your health, I find that people always have things that they want to say about those kind of things, and they don't look at it from a health perspective. They look at it as a diet perspective. They think it's a fad diet, like Bonnie said, not sustainable. It's going to come and go, whatever. And they don't take into account that you've done your research, that there's a lot of really good people out there that give us really good information. You've looked into it. You're not just in it just for the weight loss. You're in it for the health benefits. You're trying to lower your inflammation. You're trying to lower your A1C and get your blood sugars down. There's all kinds of reasons, right? But a lot of people don't see that when they're saying these kind of judgy comments. I'm just going to go back here. Bonnie said, a doctor told me that, not sustainable. A doctor told me that. She changed her mind when my blood sugar and labs were all perfect. That must have felt really good. Hey, Bonnie. And she's like, oh, that's awesome. My sister says, yes, keto is totally bad for you. So I pretty much stopped talking about it with people. Yep. And that is an absolute great way to handle it if you just don't even want to engage with it. I mean, it's kind of, if you think about it, it's almost like like anything that you might be kind of interested in. I mean, I got like a lot of weird things that may, okay, not weird, not like the way you're thinking weird, but like, things that I might be interested in that nobody else is interested in. And it's like kind of like read the room, right? I know nobody else in this room is probably going to be interested in this particular topic. So I'm probably not going to talk about it, or for someone to say, ooh, that's a weird thing or whatever. So you just don't talk about it. That's a great way to handle it if you don't want to deal with that kind of a thing. Beth, I'm so glad I don't have to convince my doctors or my kids' doctors. Yeah, you're really lucky, Beth. That's actually quite rare, but that's really good. I mean, I know a lot of doctors are coming along, and they're really getting on board with it, but there's so many that aren't, for sure. Oh my gosh, Sean, just popping in at a friend's house. Definitely will watch a replay. Sean, so good to see you. I hope everything's okay with getting all your trees out of your yard and everything. That was unbelievable, those pictures. So I hope everybody's okay. Great to see you. Great that you could pop in. So glad that you guys are all okay. Bonnie, they hate hearing that. Yeah, they absolutely do hate hearing that. So whether we're talking about keto or whether we're talking about just anything, right? Whether they're saying they're judging you on what you're going to do, or judging you on what you are doing, or say you were doing it, like I'll say keto, and then you decide to go off. You decide like, I'm not doing keto 100%, 80-20 rule, whatever, you decide a vacation, whatever it is, right? Then you might get the judgment of, see, told you, you couldn't do it. Not sustainable. Told you. They act like it's some kind of cult or something. Like you have, you said you were going to do it. You said you were going to do it 100%, and now you're not doing it. So now I'm calling you on it. All of this is really, really comes down to one thing. Honestly, I could sum up all of this in one sentence. Their opinions don't matter. Their opinions don't matter. And anything that somebody says that's judgy, whether it's keto or anything else, it's only that way if you accept it. You have to accept it. Anything that anybody says out there, I mean, I guess good or bad, you have to accept it. So if somebody I can't even really think off the top of my head anybody saying anything over the top negative or judgy. It might have just been like a general comment of, well, I kind of heard whatever, and I don't think anything about that. But like if somebody was to actually say something to me quite derogatory, I would honestly not accept it. I know the research. I know I know that it's super healthy. I don't need anybody out there telling me, because I already know. I wouldn't accept it. And I don't want you guys to accept it either. And this really goes for a lot of stuff, doesn't it? I literally just choked on my own spit. Sorry. I do that when I'm dehydrated. Super classy. Sorry. I hear sometimes people in the group and they'll say, oh, this person in my family, was saying this, and oh, this person said this, or oh, I went out for lunch with someone for, this person, and she really wanted to go to such and such and made such a big deal about it. And it's like, why do we accept these things? Why don't we just, stand up for ourselves and just say whatever? Or not saying that we have to get our own way, but I'll give the lunch example. Like say somebody said, oh, we really want to go out and it's going to be Chinese. That was something we were talking about in the group. Chinese food is like probably one of the hardest food categories to eat around. You can do it. Don't get me wrong. You can do it. But I'm saying if, it's harder, it's definitely harder. And so why not just say to the person you're with, Chinese is really difficult for me. I feel really bloated and have a lot of inflammation after. Is there anything else? Like literally any other category I would go. And if they said no, I'd say, okay, well, you guys have fun. So I'll see you guys after. We'll go for coffee or something like that. But that's what I mean. It's like, I just don't understand why people can be so accepting when it comes to, allergies or a condition or something, but they don't realize that certain foods for certain people can be a real problem that cause inflammation. Like I'll just say for me, like grains are like absolutely the worst. I'm not saying I don't ever have them, but I really try to stay away from them because they just make me feel absolutely arthritic. I have so much inflammation. I feel so horrible. It's just not worth it for me. So I'll do kind of anything I can to kind of hopefully avoid that and only have it once in a while and very short little one and done. Um, but oh yeah, exactly. I just saw, okay, I'm seeing two different things. Bonnie, even accepting a vegetarian or vegetarian lifestyles. Exactly. And you know what? If I was having a debate with someone, and I'm not going to get into it because there could be some keto vegetarians in here. And if they are, that's fantastic because actually that's probably the best way to be a vegetarian if you're going to be a vegetarian. But I could have so many arguments about why vegetarianism is actually so much harder on the body than, you know, anything else kind of thing. I mean, you could have that argument, but people are so accepting of people that are vegetarians, right? Whereas when we say we're keto, it's like, oh, yeah, well, that's like really bad for your health. Oh, why would you say that? Why would you say it's bad for your health? Well, I just heard somewhere. My doctor said so. Okay, well, we do our own research. We know why that's not true. And I'm just imploring you, anybody here who has ever had anyone that said that, if you accepted it, don't accept it any longer. Don't accept it any longer. It's absolutely not worth it, and we don't have to. We absolutely don't have to. Do you know what's a real good one? And I'm going to say that my sister probably told me this one. Um, my automatic, like in my life, I would say my automatic response when people would say something that is totally against my grain would be to be defensive. I think that's pretty common. And I'm pretty sure it was my sister that said that you don't have to have a response. So say like you're at a party or something and you're eating around or whatever, and someone says something and you say, oh, I'm keto or whatever, and they say blah, blah, they say whatever they're going to say. What do you think they would do if you just went like this? Talk about awkward. And who's going to feel awkward? They're going to feel awkward. They're going to feel totally stupid for what they said when you say nothing. I almost think it's better to just say nothing than to actually come up with defense. We can cite all the studies, right? We can talk about the different doctors that have this and that. We can say, oh, let me send you a bunch of YouTube videos or whatever. Most people, they don't care. They've already got their mind made up. They don't need to be convinced. They're just throwing it out there. So just say nothing. I think that's a really good tactic. Yep. My sister said no response is a response. Exactly. I like that. I've actually tried that a couple of times, not in relation to keto, but in something completely different. And I thought I'm going to try it. It's hard. I will say, as a blabby person, it's really hard not to come back with your defense or not to come back with, yeah, but, or whatever, and just be like, it's just like all I could do, right? To hold it in. But the person literally cringed. Like it made them feel very awkward. So I'm just throwing that out there. That was a good tip, and it's definitely worked. Julia, the morality aspect of vegan support system can be somewhat daunting. Yes, that is true. I mean, and that's what I mean. Like everybody has their own reasons for things, and that's the other thing I should talk about. I mean, like I would never really judge someone. Like I said, I could come up with a lot of reasons why eating a certain way where I personally don't think it is the best way, but I'm not judging a person's decision. If that's what they want to do and that's what they want to try and they feel really good about it, whether it's ethically or, health wise or whatever, who am I to judge? You do you. Everybody do you. If somebody was coming to my house and they said that they were vegetarian, I would bend over backwards making all the awesome vegetarian meals that I could. If somebody said that they were celiac, I would make food around it. I would ask questions and I would make sure that I got it right or whatever. I would support that person. Anything that person was doing, even if it was something that maybe I thought, oh boy, that I really don't know if that is the best thing. Unless that person is asking my opinion on it, I'm not going to say anything. That is up to them to live their life how they want to live. And I totally support them in any way. So I expect the same for me. I am not accepting somebody else's judgment at all. I am not going to accept it. Beth, how many times have I said I'm keto and I'm eating veggies? People freak. What you eat veggies on keto? Oh, do you mean like you shouldn't even be eating veggies on keto, or what kind of veggies you can eat on keto. Sorry, I can't quite get that one, but I'm guessing that they're kind of judging on what you're even eating with the veggies or whatever. And if you mean like, carrots and stuff like that, it's like, you know what? And I even hear some judgments even within the keto community. You know what I mean? Where somebody will have a plate of stuff and there'll be like two little baby carrots on the side, and then a whole bunch of kale and all the stuff, and someone will say, "Carrots aren't keto." It's like, okay, carrots can totally fit into a keto lifestyle. Like, it's two little carrots. How many carbs is that? Hello, you get 20 a day if you're, following that strict keto macros. It's like, honestly, they're, yeah, we've talked about that before. I mean, you can have a hard line in the sand and say, absolutely won't have X, or I'm not going to have it very often, or these certain foods really don't agree with me. It's just like there's a lot of people in the group and they will have some grains in their keto lifestyle. And if that works for them, that's great. If they can have some grains and they can keep it within their low carb threshold, and they don't feel inflammation, they don't have any issues with it, great, have it. I'm not that person, but there are a lot of people that can handle that. And I say all the power to you if you can do that. I just pointed out in the group because a lot of people don't realize that it can be a problem, and they sometimes tend to lean on these really low carb wraps that are out right now and that kind of a thing. And they think, oh, well, say there's only like 1 or 2 grams of carbs or something like that, net carbs. And they'll say, oh, I could have like 5 a day, or I could have 6 a day or something like that. And then they're starting to notice some things. They're getting inflammation, the weight's not coming down. So I just like to point it out because some people don't realize that this can be a real problem for some people. But I'm not judging the people that can have it in their diet. I think that's fantastic. If I could have a little bit and feel really good, I probably would have it more often. Oh, sorry, Beth. Sorry, I probably wasn't getting it, what you were saying. Yeah, so I'm just going to go back here a little bit. Julia says the negative opinions are real downers. They really are real downers. But out of curiosity, if so, like, I'd be curious to know what someone said to you, Julia, because I think I remember you saying something in the group about this. What they said, and then what was your reaction to it? Because I know when I was younger, especially, like I said, I was very defensive. Didn't matter what it was. I was very defensive about things, and I always had to, stand up for my point or whatever. And now I kind of have the mindset of, well, that's only judgment if I accept the judgment. Everyone has the right to their own opinion. I can walk away if I want. I can kind of go, make them feel dumb if that's what I want to do. I mean, it really depends on the circumstance and how much I've had to drink, to depend on what kind of reaction they're going to get from me. But the bottom line is we really do not have to accept it. Yeah, sometimes it's a downer. And sure, wouldn't it be nice if you went to a party and there was a whole bunch of keto people and you're all chit-chatting about this awesome lifestyle or whatever? But in reality, that's probably not going to happen. Let's see here. Try to delete it. Bonnie, yes, I think it's all bacon and cheese, or it's all meat. Yeah, well, that's the other thing, right? In these kind of specialized ways of eating, people that aren't doing anything like that, they really don't know. They really don't know anything about it. And the truth is, they probably don't care about it. So unless someone is actually saying to me, tell me a little bit more about keto, like, if they had genuine interest, I am all over it. I'm all over it. I will talk till the cows come home. I know Beth has been to many things where she has talked to people about it too. But, talking to someone who's interested and then trying to convince somebody out of their already formed opinion, two different things, right? So we don't have to justify what we do. We know that this is the right thing for us, and we don't always do it 100%. And I don't want anyone calling on me when I'm not doing it 100%. It's my lifestyle. It's your lifestyle. We're going to do what works for us. Okay. Julia said, my sister flat out said, if you're going to explain keto to me, I don't want to hear it. The thing is, she asked me how I was losing so much weight. Well, that's really ironic, isn't it? So she flat out asks you what you're doing. You answer her, and then she's like, I don't want you explaining whatever. And so, you know what? I mean, obviously she was hoping for, oh, what kind of diet pill are you taking? or what kind of like, it's funny. You could say something really unhealthy, like some kind of really bad diet pill or some kind of an actual fad diet that's not good for you. And she probably would have been interested in learning it. But when she hears keto, it's like, forget it. So that's too bad. So you know what? All you can do is just live your life. Just live your life by example and just don't even say anything. The minute I said keto, she shut off. Yeah. People have this wall up. And it's just so funny because for the most part, keto is just low carb, a little bit more than low carb, but for all intents and purposes, it's low carb. And it's just saying no to certain things or less of certain things. That's all it is. But yet, I'm just saying, like, some people could live a really unhealthy lifestyle and they could be drinking like pop all day long and they could be eating ding dongs all day long. And you know what I mean? Like, that's okay. But then when you just say, well, I'm not going to have the pop and I'm not going to have the ding dong, but I'll still have all the regular, normal foods that come out of the ground and from animals or whatever. And then that's weird. Like, I don't really understand that myself. But like I said, yeah, low carbs and healthy fats. Like, how can that be? I almost think like if there was a rebranding and we didn't use the word keto anymore, like if I'm not saying to do this, like I'm just saying though that if your sister had said, so what are you doing? What are you doing? And you said keto and then right away she shut down. So if you did it over again and she said, so what are you doing? You look great. What are you doing to lose weight? Oh, well, you know what? I just kind of cut down on some stuff. I'm not eating when I'm not hungry. I kind of cut out a lot of the really high caloric things, like breads and desserts and things like that. I kind of said no to pop and trying to move a little bit more. She'd be like, oh, okay. But the minute you say keto, all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden the alarms go up. It's just funny how that happens. But yeah, eating right. Exactly. Just eating right. But anyways, that was kind of just what I wanted to talk about and see if you guys have felt this way. I've heard a few people in the group, and I think some people are, they're a little more sensitive to things than other people. And I totally get that. I do. And sometimes things hurt our feelings. Some people take it like that and it hurts their feelings and then they're not really sure what to do in those situations. And that's why I just wanted to mention that, like, it only affects you if you allow it to affect you. And also the other message is it's okay not to say anything. It's okay to just kind of look at them. In Julia's case, she had already said keto because her sister asked for keto. So obviously she's going to tell the truth and she's going to say keto. And then her sister shuts down. And then it could just be like, okay, well, you asked. So anyways, see ya. And just kind of leave it at that. Right. So if that's how she's going to be, she's going to be, but you just do you and you just live your life. Anyways, you guys, so that's kind of it for me. Let's see if there was anything else I was going to say. Oh, I know. I was going to talk about judging ourselves because right all along so far we talked about other people judging, but I did want to talk about judging ourselves because honestly, all this other stuff that we talked about, yes, it can be very hurtful, but what we say to ourselves is the most hurtful thing, right? So if we've kind of gone off our game and maybe gained a little bit or whatever, and then we'll say to ourselves things, like, oh, I was so close to my goal and then I blew it, or I was doing so good and now I suck, or, whatever those things are, we all kind of have those little thoughts or whatever. But if we let those things perpetuate, it doesn't help anything. It doesn't at all. So I was thinking to myself, there's something that I say to people, sometimes when they're going through things, and I'll say, you've done it before, you can do it again, and then I usually say, how can I support you? Because I don't always know, what. So I'll say, how can I support you? Well, what if we said that to ourselves? What if we said to ourselves, how can I support you? And as soon as you hear those words, how can I support you? It's like I was thinking to myself, okay, I've got some tempting things at the lake. There's all kinds of snacky foods and stuff. And I thought to myself, how can I support myself? I'm not going to stop other people from having their treats, but I'm going to support myself by going out of my way to get some keto things that I really enjoy. There's a few different chocolates that I really like. There's a certain brand of pork rinds that are my favorite. I love putting them in dip and things like that. And so there's just a few things I really love, and I didn't have them around last weekend. So I was thinking to myself, that's a way I could support myself, is making sure I have those things on hand, not saying those negative things to myself. Trying to get my water in every day, having the good food already prepped in the fridge and ready to go. Those are things that I can do to support myself. So why don't I talk to myself, the way I talk to other people? So that's just another thing. We don't want to be, we got enough crap going on out there. We don't need to be talking smack to ourselves. We need to talk to ourselves very, very positively. Whether you're on your game, whether you're maintaining, whether you're trying to get back on or whatever, we have to talk to ourselves really, really positively to help us get back on. Deb, I do that to myself way too often. It's really common. We all do it. I catch myself many, many times, and I try to, flip the switch as soon as I say something like that negatively to myself, and I switch it up in my head as fast as I can and get that out, because it really doesn't help anything. So anyways, I'm already excited for September. I'm going to talk about this really quickly at the end here. Even though, like, after this, I think I've told you guys I'm going to take a few weeks off. I'm going to be at the lake. I'll still be in the group and everything. I'm just not going to be doing Facebook Lives. It's very difficult to do it there, and just going to take a little break from it. But I'm already gearing up. I've got something really, really exciting planned for September, and I think you guys are going to love it. But I'm going to start talking about it in August so that we can all get prepared. It's something every single person can do. It's nothing over the top, but I think it's going to be really fun as a group. I think it's going to get us all like rah. So wherever you are, I think September is a really good time where people feel like they want to kind of get really back into it again. So I'm getting all this planned for you guys. Annette, I've loved how my little guy, even when I think I'm struggling, he says, "Mom, you're doing great." Oh, isn't that sweet? Oh my gosh. That is so sweet that your little guy would say that. That's awesome. And you know what? He gets that from you. He ain't just come up with that by himself. He gets that from you. So you obviously say that to him, and now he's saying it back to you. That's awesome. I love that. It's an awesome way to end our talk today. Thanks so much, you guys. I hope you have a really nice evening, and I will talk to you in the group. Okay, bye, guys. Hey guys, before you go, hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so you can be notified every time we have a new video posted. Also, down in the description, I will have links to everything that we talked about in our chat today, including information on how you can join my Intentionally Bare Keto support group. See you next time.